commonly known as Dom.
Daniel Ashman.
James.
My name's Squirrel.
Well, his name's Paul.
Chloe.
2 months now.
Finsbury Square.
Yeah, I came straight here because St Paul's was apparently full.
I'm always here. Every time someone asks me, how long have I been here? 37 years.
I've been here since, well, not here, but with the Occupy movement since October the 18th.
I arrived at St Paul's campsite just before Christmas. I stayed there permanently. I was sleeping there for 6 weeks, 2 months.
And I've been here for a few weeks now.
I've been waiting 56 years for this to happen.
I came down here for about 2.5 weeks before, and I've been down here for about 5 days now.
I was working in engineering, mainly making things out of tube. I also had a hand in making the Olympic swimming pools handrails.
I grew up as a bit well dragged up, really. I was a bit of a street towny type kid, hung about in the towns. Couldn't get much work other than construction work because they didn't need to see a criminal record. Bit of a bad boy. And then I started going to work, being the norm, and that took me further and further away from my daughter, until the point of I wasn't seeing her at all. I was working up in Scotland, and the monetary system collapsed. There was a recession, so I was stuck in the middle of the country, no money, no anything. So I just studied law. The legal system's there to enslave us. It's just made of paper, so if the chains are made from paper, I can break free from that. And started. I gave up using money about 2 years ago, and started learning skills of foraging and what I could use these herbs for, and started spreading this knowledge and hitting the festival circuits with law knowledge and foraging knowledge, and learning it back too, because I believe like knowledge has value, so share the knowledge and become rich in friends.
I'm a trained actor and writer. I've done 4 years acting school. I've since been working as a teaching assistant, workshop leader, youth worker, loads of kind of jobs to do with community. I worked when I was very young at a residential care home, so I've always kind of been had a social conscience.
My father was in the army, so I've moved around a lot. I was born in Germany, and when he left the army, lived in Southern Ireland, spent time in Scotland, France. I had a bit of a revelation when New Labour got into power, and I realised that party politics was a sham, and that it was about how deep the pockets were. I decided to up stakes. I spent the last 10 years in France, where I've been enjoying myself. I work a winter season in the ski resort, and the summer down south.
Basically, I grew up in the suburbs of London, northwest London, Harrow to be precise. I went to a little school, like state kind of school, went to state high school. Never really studied that hard. I was kind of the person that would be like, my head was always in the clouds. I got run over when I was 12 years of age, and that kind of stunted my academical growth in a way. So I was never really academical, I was always more creative. I like playing the guitar, I like to write poetry and just get creative basically. My upbringing was good. Parents got divorced when I was 7 or 8. That's my background really.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, I had a breakdown 3 years ago. I was working as a chef and I had a breakdown. That's quite important.
Well, I started off as a steel worker, and me being me, I chose a trade that was the first to collapse. And then I went travelling. I worked in 17 countries. When Thatcher was in power in 1982, I left Britain, I had 10 pence in my pocket. I was gone for 22 years, and I worked in 17 countries. So, when you're a Tory, say get on your bike and look for a job, I literally did. I went. But I came back, I was in Canada, I came back in 2001. I was living on the streets, and I put myself through university, got myself a degree in social policy and psychology, and just started working in the homeless sector. So I spent 7 years working as a substance abuse worker for Camden here, up in North London.
I'm actually an artist, I've been living in Scotland for 12 years, but I'm originally from London, so I feel very much at home here. I've been protesting since I was about 16, 17 years old. When I used to live in London, I used to go to the Reclaim the Streets events where they used to put off a bit of the street and have the parties, and I spent quite a few years protesting against GM crops when I was in Scotland. I'm here because I came down about a month ago to the Bank of Ideas, and I was there up to the eviction, and I was very inspired by that space. I then went back up to Scotland where I live, and I came back down here again to see how the movement had progressed from the Bank of Ideas eviction. And I'd heard about the school being open, which was a kind of progression from the Bank of Ideas, and I wanted to see what was going on. For me, I came down specifically for the school rather than for St Paul's, because I liked the ideas of the things that were going on at the schools, the fact that they had rooms for specific things. They had a well-being room, which was a meditation room. They had an art room. They had it as an activity centre, and I was really excited about getting involved in artwork there and doing community projects and that kind of thing. Obviously it was cut very short because I got evicted 4 days after being there, so it's a shame because I would have liked to have been a long-term member of the projects at the school. It was knocked down literally an hour after they evicted us. I think the developers had bought the rights to do that, because I don't think it was the Islington Council. That I think they were actually quite happy about it being a community centre serving the people of the area. I think it was the developers who, as always, got right in there and decided to bulldoze it, and it's still being bulldozed now because I went up there today to look at it, and most of it has been knocked down. So this is a real shame. It's that everyone is always on edge because you never know at what moment they're going to come along and evict you. We got 10 minutes notice at the school. I didn't even manage to get all my stuff packed. I was probably out of the building in 10-15 minutes, and I don't know whether that's legal or not for them to do that. I was under the impression that they had to give some kind of written thing, and certainly for the Bank of Ideas, I think they gave quite a few days notice, but I think it ended up turning into at least a week that we got prior to going from there, so people knew when they were going. But in there it was just very, very sudden and very shocking for everyone to be given, because a lot of people had been there for a long time. My friends Hannah and Dave had been there for a long, long time. They'd really got themselves quite settled in the room they were in, and it was like having to dismantle your home, basically.
Occupy Wall Street was the catalyst for all occupiers, for all occupations around the world. As I say, it started off with just a few dozen people, and now they highlighted such an obvious problem that Occupy is now taken off on every continent of the world in all different cultures. I mean, people say the main criticism of Occupy from the mainstream media, and it's a very poor criticism, is that we don't have one aim. You know, they try to stereotype protest like, oh, they're anti-capitalist, you know. We're not. The 99% is made up of 99% of the people. We all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different cultures and social status and all the rest of it. We've all got our own problems. The 99% will have 99 problems, you know what I mean? We can't just be categorised and pigeonholed into one group. You know, I object to people. Well, in fact, I don't object. I just get fed up with it now. People coming down calling me an anti-capitalist. You know what I mean? I'm not. I've got nothing against people working hard and making a profit, as long as they're responsible with that profit. You know, as long as they pay their fair share. Why not just have a basic rate of tax for everybody? For everybody. Why differentiate? What's the reason for differentiating? I mean, a 17% tax for everybody, including the wealthy. What's wrong with that?
We've pushed the agenda massively forward. It's something which not only is it in people's faces here, it's kind of become part of the conversation, part of the consideration of many people. That is untold success. It's hard to quantify what that is. Another achievement is for the relatively small amounts of money that has been donated, we've managed to get millions of pounds worth of exposure. We've managed to, for a very, in terms of how institutions run for a very low cost, we've managed to provide free lectures for anybody of any perceived ability, no matter what their age or what have you. We've managed to do that. That's quite a big task. We've managed to provide a platform for cultural events and a sharing of those thoughts, feelings, poetry, music, all of that. We're building a record label to help fund other projects. We've got various projects. We're networking all the time with various kind of other organisations, campaigning groups. We've managed to step up to the table and be known to the authority, the people who consider themselves to be the authorities. They know who we are now.
I don't protest.
You don't protest?
No.
Just observe?
Yeah, protest is illegal. It will make you liable. So I do not protest. I'm just here enjoying life.
Okay.
And I don't think that's illegal yet. What I'd say is that people have got to be aware, like if they're against something, then energy goes where energy flows. So if you're going to be against, you're feeding that energy, and you're never going to beat the system. Stop fighting. If you want to be free from that system's control, do not replicate that system and then impose more rules like this movement is doing. So if they want to be free from control, just teach other people by being free. Sitting down and having a 3-hour GA and talking about nonsense is creating more problems rather than like actually doing the solutions. Be the change you wish to see. Get out there and do it. When the people that come in for the GAs, they come in, make up a body of rules, decide what the community's got to do, and then they go home. It's like a government. It's wrong.
Definitely, I can't go back to living the way I was, working for nothing, man.
I will always be doing stuff that is against corporate control, or any type of control. I'm sick of control. I think we should all be free to do as we please, as long as we act honourably.
I've got no regret.
So yeah, I would like to do it again, and I'd like to be involved from the very start.
I don't think my life's going to be much different from now. I think this is it now. I've abandoned my whole flat, so this is it now. This is my life. What you see here, you know, my stuff in my tent here, you know, is basically, this is it.
There's no again about it. It's just going to continue to go now. This Occupy will be going for 100 years.
When I go up to Scotland, I'm most likely going to be coming back down here again, so that's probably a yes.
Hopefully I've gained some friends. Hopefully I've gained some enemies. Hopefully I've gained some understanding and insight. Hopefully I've gained another family, another network of support, and something positive with my life. That's what hopefully I've gained something positive. I know I say hopefully. What have I gained? I've gained a fake picture I know with Princess Diana's face on it. She's good for tourism. Well, not anymore, but I've gained, you know, a commonsensical way, a logical way of thinking of things. I've gained a lot of personal characteristics and attributes from people around here rubbed off on me. I've become more reasonable, sensible.
Well, they say go out and do it. You know, it's an experience.
That's a very tough question. That really is, because that touches me. Doing this and being quite hardcore and staunch on it. My daughter's mother hasn't wanted me anywhere near my daughter for a few years. I haven't been involved in her life since the recession of 2008, when I was stuck in the middle of the country, and that does hurt, because if your family, the ones that you love the most, you can't be in contact with them, and you're doing it for them, then like it's a catch-22. You're stuck. But I've got like my brothers. They support what I'm doing, but like don't think it's going to make any change or anything like that. I've got other friends that love what I do because I'm a bit of a comical jester when I do it. So with knowledge and humour, you can like plant some seeds here and there. So my friends do see where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to do.
My friends in London are very, very supportive, and my family, my mum's really supportive. My dad is a little bit, why don't you just go, you know, you need to get a job, you need to be realistic, you know, this thing isn't going to change just because people want it to. So like, although I love him dearly, you know, we're a little bit of loggerheads.
I come from quite a middle-class English background, and they all think I'm nuts, deluded at best, naive.
Don't know.
Not spoken to them?
I'm sure they'd be supportive of it. I'm just doing my bit for society. I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
My friends were totally behind me. Totally behind me. The family in general are not for or against me, just don't care really.
My dad is disgusted that I am here. Sadly, my dad epitomises what is probably the mass opinion of most people, is that he disagrees with everything that the bankers are doing. At the same time, ironically, he wouldn't take direct action about it. And I had a big argument with him, and I said, you know, if you've got a problem with it and if you think it's wrong, then you go out and do something about it. But he's very much believing that it all has to go through a political process, and that who you vote in is the people that deal with that. My mum's quite interested by it. My friends in Scotland, they don't know too much about it really.
Too many freeloaders, too many parasites, too many hangers-on, too many thieves, too many liars, too many people that chuck stuff at me as I'm getting interviewed, too many people that don't understand what Occupy's about, that don't attend the meetings, that aren't in the official working groups. There is a process in this protest. I dislike that. I like the fact that we get visits by attractive women. I like the fact that I haven't killed anyone as yet. I don't know. I like the women that come on. I like those with the maternal instincts and certain motherly influence over us. It's really cool.
I think there's a lot of backstabbing and a lot of bickering going on about people behind people's backs, and I think that it's causing self-fragmentation, because if people criticise other people so much within the movement, there's no unity, and then it just crumbles. So people need to have more kind of solidarity and you know, stick together more. What I like about it is the way that, okay, there's the odds, people shout occasionally, but on the whole everyone's looking after each other like family. They really are. I mean, I feel extremely safe here. It's maybe the only place in London that I would feel safe staying in a tent. People are caring for each other, there's food being made, you know, people are always watching other people's backs and making sure that everyone is really considering that where we are and the space that we're in. I think we're doing pretty well, but as I say, there could be less of the kind of people pretending to play politicians. That's just my personal opinion. So, because once people start doing that, then they end up doing exactly what we're protesting against.
I love the people, because everybody's different, and you've got some great people, especially when they're all thrown in together. You've got to learn who's who and evaluate good guys and bad guys as such. And my dislikes are the way it's being run, especially from the Tavistock Institute doing their social dreaming events, them being the mind control branch of the MI5, and the facilitators being common purpose graduates, and the finance team being climate camp, and the press team being run by BBC and things like that. They're the things I don't like. Orchestrated revolution, that's not for me. If people want to be free, they've got to find freedom within themselves before they look up to a GA for their solutions.